In this video, we are going to take a 300-gallon IBC, or intermediate bulk container, and we are going to turn it into this, which is a water tower. And we're going to do so using 2-inch PVC pipe. So pick up a 10-foot length of PVC. You'll have some left over, and it can cover any mistakes you make. You want two 90-degree elbows. You want to figure out an adapter just to go from a 2-inch Fernco boot to a garden hose. You also want three Fernco boots. So, also need a 10-foot section of, I'm using 5/8" hose, brass fitting that goes from the nipple that the hose goes onto to threaded end, and hose clamp and some hose for filling. Also gonna need some tools and really not much skill at all. So we're at the point now where we're going to install the vent in the cap of the bottom container. That way, as it fills and drains, you have that air vent so it doesn't create any vacuum. So I put this lid on tight, and Mark, I know exactly where I want the hole to be. It's going to be there because there's a block on the top container that sits on top that I'm going to have to drill a hole through to plumb the drain out that way. So I'm going to drill the hole. I have a, it's a 5/8" nipple by 1/2" male iron pipe thread fitting, and that's going to go in there like so. And I have some 5/8" tubing that's going to go on there with the hose clamp around it. So we'll get that done and go from there. All right, so we drilled the hole through it, and one thing, make sure this is relatively thin plastic up here, so you really want to make sure you get the hole perfect with no variations. That way this thing will thread in tight, and you won't have any issues with leakage. So we're going to start it by getting it finger tight and make sure it's kind of set the way we want it to be. I'm just going to screw it on in and check it. A little off, but it'll work. Oh, that's perfect. We are there. All right, let's get everything else set up. And everything I'm doing might seem like a wee bit of overkill, but I just don't want to get into a position where I put everything together, fill it with a couple 1,000 pounds of water, and then have an issue. So just get the plumber's putty rolled out in a nice little snake. I'm just gonna lay it in that groove there just to make a nice seal. That'll work. And the plumber's putty doesn't have much adhesive properties. You want to kind of press it in there to keep it from falling out when you flip it and put it on. All right, pressed in there nice and good. The other thing, this cap has what appears to be a little bit of a vent already made on it, so I can pass a little bit of air if I blow hard. I'm just going to shove some plumber's putty in there too to seal that up, because if I have the other IBC on top, it's just going to start squirting water out of it. We don't want that. All right, so I got the vent hose on, and as you can see underneath, what we're going to need to do, that cap rests up against the center block. It's hollow under here, so I'm going to drill through here and basically cut a notch out so the hose can go up and through this hole out to the top. All right, everything is one's on top of the other. As you can see, I actually took my drill and used the bit to mill out a pretty significant portion to get that vent hose to clear, but it's coming out. I'm just gonna snake it up and through, make sure it's vented above the top water level. Obviously another thing, make sure your stack get out of level, double check it, because that's a lot of weight, and if it's off balance, you're risking having it fall over. So make sure everything's leveled out. It looks off because of the slope of my property, but I've checked with the level, it's good to go. And the other issue is, being that it's so tall, I'm actually going to, I put a hole in, I'm going to put a little gasket there, and I'm going to put that on the top and run the hose off, so every time I fill it, I don't have to bring a ladder out. I can just connect it down here. All right, now that we have our stack made, our way to fill it installed, and our vent, we're going to finish the rest of the plumbing. As you can see, I'd ran this before with a single, and the threadings they use on these, they vary from container to container, but all of these, it's like it's a 2-inch, some sort of random British thread. You can also buy a clamp fitting that goes over top of them like that, but they're expensive. I don't feel like paying for it. So this is what I did. I used a Fernco boot for this one and have it modified to go out to a garden hose fitting. And so I'm going to take this, I'll show you the way it's going to splice all in. The way the rest of the plumbing is going to go, this is going to come out of the top container. There's going to be a long tube down to the bottom container. It's going to go into this T, which is going to go here, and then here to the reducer into the garden hose. So that should give me a lot more pressure and work a lot better for my garden. All right, so we're all buttoned up here, and let's have a look at the finished product. So we have our outlet that comes down to our T, and then out to the garden hose fitting, which will go out into the garden. Luckily, PVC is very forgiving, especially when you have the Fernco boots. You have a lot of flex, close to the new perfect. The measurements, even if you're not a plumber by trade or really familiar with this stuff, it's not hard to figure out. Plus, even if there is a little bit of leakage, I always keep the ball valves shut when not in use, and that'll prevent that as well. So we're going to go ahead and fill it up. You can watch another video on my channel about how I do that from the creek back here using a 12-volt Harbor Freight pump off my riding mower. We'll get it filled, and we'll see how much water flow we have, and check for leaks. All right, so we're filled about one rung down from the top, and we are going to see how much pressure we have. Let's activate. All right, so the first pressure test we're going to do is with me standing at the level of the outlet. So this is the highest point in my garden. So if I get decent pressure here, anything down from it will be increased. So let's see where we're at. That is wonderful. Doesn't look like much, but compared to what it was with the single container, this is night and day. And at this pressure or greater, this whole setup will be more than adequate for all of my watering needs. All right, and now we're at the bottom of the garden, where there's about a 3-foot drop from the bottom outlet down to here, and we're gonna see a little bit of broccoli starting to go in there. We're gonna see how it does. Oh yeah, you take a shower with this. This is absolutely fantastic. So the difference between single tower and double stack is night and day. So I think that's the end of the video. Everyone have a wonderful evening, and cheers. In this video, we are going to take a 300-gallon IBC, or intermediate bulk container, and we are going to turn it into this, which is a water tower. And we're going to do so using 2-inch PVC pipe. So pick up a 10-foot length of PVC. You'll have some left over, and it can cover any mistakes you make. You want 2 90-degree elbows. You want to figure out an adapter just to go from a 2-inch Fernco boot to a garden hose. You also want 3 Fernco boots. So, also need a 10-foot section of, I'm using 5/8" hose, brass fitting that goes from the nipple that the hose goes onto to threaded end, and hose clamp and some hose for filling. Also gonna need some tools and really not much skill at all.